Okay, previously on the last video, we were discussing Descartes and his idea, and I was really surprised to see people comment it and stuff. So I thought I would post this video, which is pretty much going to be a summary about Hilary Putnam's brains in a vat theory, and it's interesting because it's directly contrasting and opposite to Descartes' I think, therefore I am idea. So, Hilary Putnam pretty much says to picture a brain in a vat. A brain in a vat can be fed images to things that are similar to us. However, when a brain in a vat has a mental image about something, he says specifically that it is only referring to that image. For example, if I'm thinking about a tree, when a brain in a vat thinks about a tree, it's only making a reference to a tree. It's not thinking of what I'm actually thinking about. It's not thinking of an actual tree. It's making a reference to a tree. And this is more than just semantics, I swear. So, a little example, I actually learned this in a philosophy class, and it's pretty interesting because I never heard of it before. It's a thing called the Turing test, Turing, Turing. They're actually used for a study to tell so there's a person that gives the test out, and behind a window or something, I guess, there's a computer on one side and then there's a person on the other side, and the person that's conducting the study can't see either, so they don't know which is the computer and which is a person. And what they do is they each give both sides a survey or a questionnaire, and at the end of the test, the point is to figure out which one is the computer and which is the actual person. Now, many can argue that a computer can think, process, whereas I'd hope many people wouldn't argue against the fact that a computer, although it is processing, doesn't actually refer to things the same way we do, as Hilary Putnam is trying to explain. So if someone asks the computer, do you like apples? The computer might say, yeah, I love green apples. They're so good. But the fact of the matter is the computer doesn't exactly know what apples are because the computer doesn't have an actual experience with the apples. So Hilary Putnam's argument is to declare or question whether or not we are brains in a vat is to affirm that we're actually not brains in a vat. Because if you're an actual brain in a vat, obviously, the statement, I am a brain in a vat, has to be false. Because a brain in a vat would have an actual computer telling it it's human. So, if you're sitting at the Turing test, or you're witnessing one rather, and there's a computer being asked questions by this scientist, and the final question is, are you a brain in a vat, or are you a computer? The computer would obviously say, no, I'm not. Because it's built to think like a human is thinking. Also, in this Turing test, both subjects are given the opportunity to lie. So hopefully the human would be smart and be like, yeah, well, I'm the computer. So then, you would get that. They'd get that distinction there. They know that the human is indeed human. Okay, so, and I digress. So if you're actually a brain in a vat, the statement I am a brain in a vat has to be false because the brain in a vat would be a computer telling it it's human. So Putnam says that the thought of a solitary mind making reference to a body when it actually doesn't have a body has to be false. And this is what I love about this, because the last video we were all discussing and Descartes and whether or not his idea might be correct. This idea is completely contrary to Descartes because Descartes believes that there could be a mind, and, as we said, I think therefore I am, right? So we are only conscious minds, and we can't prove that our bodies exist, or this reality exists, or any of you exist. But the thing with that is Descartes actually makes references to the body and the external world, and Putnam's theory and his idea is saying that the mind or just consciousness alone cannot be autonomous. because meanings and images are determined by actual interactions with the world. When I refer to an apple, and the computer refers to an apple, or a brain in a vat refers to an apple, they're only making references to apples. They don't know what an actual apple is. I eat apples. I swear. So, I actually know, I can actually refer to a real apple. I'm not making a reference. I'm talking about the actual thing. So meanings and images are determined by the actual interactions. And the mind referring to a body when it doesn't have one is self-refuting and therefore false. So I hope that is some insight or different idea, something interesting, new. And as I said in the other video, I hope you guys have some ideas or some thoughts on this. If something is not clear, I get really camera shy. So if you could just tell me, I'll be more than happy to, explain whatever I didn't clarify. So yeah, that's it.